Protection. Ah yes, the glorious Protection enchantment. The backbone of your armor set, and the first enchantment any self-respecting Minecraft player should slap on literally everything they own. Any good Minecraft player knows that the moment you get a piece of diamond or netherite armor, you are finding the nearest enchanting table or librarian and you are putting protection on it. Want the details? Max level 4 goes on all 4 armor pieces and reduces most incoming damage by a flat percentage. Each level of protection gives you 1 enchantment protection factor, while blast protection, fire protection, and projectile protection each give 2 enchantment protection factors per level instead. And the total cap across all your armor combined is 20. Don't overthink the math. The short version is that more is better, and 4 pieces of protection 4 gets you very close to the cap. Close enough that you will genuinely feel the difference every single time something tries to unalive you. Now here's the part Notch decided to make complicated because, of course he did. Protection is mutually exclusive with blast protection, fire protection, and projectile protection. You cannot stack them on the same piece. For most players in most situations, protection wins every single time because it covers basically everything at once. Most players do prefer protection, general bonuses versus the just slightly better specialized gear, and I happen to agree. I mean, why take less when you can have more? It does have limits. It won't save you from hunger damage, the Warden's sonic boom, or the void. At that point, that's on you. Absolutely essential enchantment, but it's not the only enchantment unless you want your armor to break every 5 seconds. Unbreaking. It's pretty standard compared to the others. But look, you are going to need it on every piece, because nothing is more infuriating than losing a full set of carefully enchanted armor to durability in the middle of a nether run and having absolutely nobody to blame but yourself for not putting Unbreaking on it when you had the chance. The way it works is that each level gives your armor a chance to ignore a durability hit entirely. So instead of losing durability every single time you take damage, sometimes the game just does not count it. The higher the level, the more often that happens, and the longer your armor survives. Unbreaking 3 will effectively quadruple the lifespan of all your armor and tools. Solid enchantment. But honestly, if you really want your armor to last forever, Unbreaking is only half the equation. Mending. Alright, Mending. Yeah, I know. This one needs no introduction. But we are doing it anyway, because if you are watching this video and you do not have Mending on your armor yet, I need you to stop what you're doing and go fix that immediately. Like right now, close the video, fix it, and come back. Here is how it works. Whenever you collect an experience orb while wearing or holding a Mending enchanted item, that XP goes toward repairing the item's durability instead of going into your experience bar. 2 durability restored per XP point consumed. Which means as long as you are collecting experience from mining, from killing mobs, from smelting, from literally anything at all, your armor basically fixes itself while you pair that with any kind of XP farm, and your armor becomes, for all practical purposes, immortal. Not to mention stack Mending with Unbreaking, and you have basically solved the durability problem for the rest of the game. Together, a full set of armor with both enchantments will genuinely outlive your interest in the server you are playing on. Now here is the catch, because of course there always is one. Mending is a treasure enchantment, which means you cannot get it from an enchanting table. Not ever. You have to find it in loot chests, fish it up with an appropriate fishing rod, or go find yourself a librarian villager and spend what will absolutely be an unreasonable number of emeralds and an unreasonable amount of time re-rolling their trades until they finally offer it. And no, I am definitely not talking from personal experience. W enchantment. Possibly the biggest W enchantment in the entire game. Oh, and if you are enjoying this, go ahead and hit subscribe. The algorithm does not care about you, but I do. Somewhat. Subscribe anyway. Okay, good vibes over. Let's get into the next enchantment. Feather Falling. This enchantment has saved more Minecraft lives than any piece of armor ever could. I mean it. You can have full netherite armor, protection 4 on every piece, Mending, Unbreaking, the works, and then you take one wrong step off a cliff and none of it matters. Because fall damage scales with distance, and your armor alone is not equipped to handle a 40-block drop without significant consequences. That is where Feather Falling comes in. Boots only, max level 4. Each level reduces fall damage by 12%, which means at level 4 you are cutting incoming fall damage by nearly half. Almost half. From one enchantment, on your boots. But here is the part most players do not realize. Feather Falling also reduces the damage you take from Ender Pearl teleportation. Yeah, Feather Falling cuts that down too, which means this single boot enchantment is making your entire movement toolkit safer every single time you use it. It stacks with protection as well, which, combined, is a lot of defense, and who doesn't love that? So, if you are playing without Feather falling and you die to fall damage, that is genuinely on you at this point. There is no excuse. It is a boots enchantment, level 4, and it is not hard to get from a librarian. Now, while we are on the subject of things that will unalive you, let us talk explosions. Blast Protection. Here is the thing. This one comes with an asterisk, and the asterisk is kind of a big deal, so pay attention. Blast Protection reduces explosion damage. It also reduces explosion knockback, and that part is not obvious at all. And it is actually the reason this enchantment has a real argument for being on your armor in the right situations. Regular protection does nothing about how far a creeper blast sends you flying off a cliff or into lava. Blast Protection does. It keeps you where you are, or at least closer to where you were, max level 4 on all armor pieces, 8% explosion damage reduction per level, plus the knockback reduction that nobody ever puts in the description. The problem, and you already know what I'm going to say, is that you cannot have Blast Protection and Protection on the same piece. That is the deal. So you are making a choice when you put this on something. You are deciding that explosions are your primary threat in this particular armor slot, and you are fully committing to that decision. Speaking of things that will set you on fire, Fire Protection. Fire Protection is exactly what it sounds like. Reduces fire and lava damage, all armor pieces, max level 4, 8% damage reduction per level. And for a long time in mid-game Minecraft, it is genuinely one of the more practical things you can put on your armor if you are spending any real time in the Nether. But the part that actually makes this enchantment worth discussing is not just the damage reduction, it is the burn duration reduction. When you are on fire in Minecraft, the damage does not stop the moment you leave the flame source. You keep burning. The fire just follows you around for a few seconds and continues chipping away at your health while you run around looking for water or a puddle or anything that will make it stop. Fire Protection shortens how long that burn lasts. Now, there is a catch. Netherite armor does not reduce fire or lava damage taken by the player. It only prevents the armor pieces themselves from burning/destroying in fire or lava. Which means by the time you are wearing a full Netherite set, Fire Protection has already lost a large portion of its value, and you are probably better served by a different enchantment in that slot. So Notch giveth with the Netherite, and Notch effectively taketh with this enchantment's usefulness. Mid-game essential. Late-game garbage. And if arrows are your problem instead of fire, Projectile Protection. The name is honestly the most straightforward thing about this enchantment, which is both a compliment and a mild criticism. Projectile Protection reduces damage from arrows, shulker bullets, and blaze fireballs. Max level 4 all armor pieces, 8% reduction per level. Same formula as the other two specific protections. Same exclusivity problem with all of them. For most of the game in most survival situations, it is not the pick. Skeletons are annoying but manageable with basic armor. Ghasts you can dodge or deflect. Shulkers are a problem, but a contained one that you deal with in a specific location and then leave. General Protection covers everything at a lower rate and just calls it a day without requiring you to make any trade-offs. Where Projectile Protection genuinely earns its slot is in raids. Wave after wave of pillagers firing crossbows at you from every direction, combined with the absolute chaos of trying to keep villagers alive and golems from getting destroyed. And suddenly that projectile damage reduction starts feeling very real and very necessary. Okay, enough playing defense. Let us talk about making your armor hit back. Thorns. Now we are talking. Thorns deal damage back to anyone who hits you. Every time an attacker lands a hit on you, mob, player, anything with the audacity to try, there is a chance Thorns triggers and deals 1 to 4 damage straight back to them. No action required on your part. You just stand there and occasionally turn into a cactus that hits back. The trigger chance scales with level. At Thorns 3, you are looking at a 45% chance to activate per hit, and here is where it gets interesting. You can put Thorns on all 4 armor pieces. Each piece with Thorns on it has its own independent 45% chance to trigger, which means with a full Thorns 3 set, every single hit on you has multiple separate rolls at dealing damage back to whoever thought attacking you was a good idea. Stack enough pieces and the math starts becoming genuinely uncomfortable for anything that tries to fight you in melee. Not to mention, it works on everything. Mobs, players, you name it. The zombie stumbling around, hitting you in the middle of the night is also slowly unaliving itself against your armor. You are doing nothing. The armor is handling it. Though, Thorns absolutely destroy your armor's durability. Every single time Thorns activates, it drains additional durability from the enchanted piece on top of the normal durability cost of taking a hit. Without Mending running in the background to repair things, and without Unbreaking to slow down the durability loss, your armor is going to deteriorate at a rate that will make you genuinely uncomfortable the first time you notice it happening. So, yeah. Pair Thorns with Mending. Alright, now that we've got our armor turning attackers into pincushions, let's dive into the deep end. Respiration. Respiration is a helmet-only enchantment that lets you breathe underwater for longer durations. But there is more to it than the obvious part. Respiration adds 15 seconds of breathing time per level. At max level 3, you have 60 full seconds underwater before your oxygen bar even becomes a serious concern. Ocean monument wings can be scouted in a minute, shipwrecks can be looted in a minute, buried treasure can be dug up in a minute, but respiration also reduces drowning damage, and this is the part almost nobody knows about. Every time you would take a tick of drowning damage, the enchantment has a chance to negate it entirely based on the level. At level 3, that chance is significant enough that you can sometimes stay underwater well past your oxygen limit without dying as fast as you should. And while we are already down here, there is another helmet-exclusive enchantment. Aqua Affinity. If you have never tried to mine something underwater without it, you probably have it on your mental list of enchantments to skip. You are wrong. Here is the thing about mining underwater in Minecraft. There is a hidden penalty that the game never explains to you outright. When you are submerged, your mining speed drops to 1/5 of what it normally is. Aqua Affinity removes that penalty entirely. Helmet only, max level 1, 1, and done. This is one of the most underrated enchantments in the entire game. But the quality of life difference between having it and not having it is enormous the moment you do any serious ocean content. Pair it with Respiration, and suddenly the ocean is a place you actually want to spend time in, rather than a place you visit briefly and escape from as fast as possible. Let's be real. If you're doing any ocean monument runs or any underwater building at all, Aqua Affinity is completely non-negotiable. Depth Strider. This one is for anyone who spends any meaningful time in the ocean. You are going to the ocean eventually, whether you plan to or not. Might as well go fast when you get there. Depth Strider increases your movement speed underwater. At max level 3, you move through water at the same speed you move on land. Each level gives you 1/3 of the way to that full normal speed cap, which means even Depth Strider 1 makes a noticeable difference right away. You do not have to commit to level 3 immediately to feel the improvement, though obviously level 3 is where you want to end up eventually. The one thing to know is that Depth Strider is mutually exclusive with Frostwalker. Boot slot, so pick your poison. You are either moving fast through the water or walking on top of it. Frostwalker. Now this one is actually kinda cool. Frostwalker turns the water beneath your feet into frosted ice as you walk over it. Not regular ice, frosted ice. A special block that exists specifically because of this enchantment and melts back into water if the light level around it gets too high. And yes, that is genuinely fun every single time. But here is the part most people have no idea about. Frostwalker also gives you complete immunity to damage from magma blocks. Yeah, most players get this enchantment purely for the water walking aesthetic and then accidentally discover they can run across an entire floor of nether magma blocks without taking a single point of damage. That is not a small thing at all. Not to mention, Frostwalker is a treasure enchantment, meaning you cannot get it from an enchanting table. Books from fishing, certain loot chests, and anvil combinations are your options, so it takes a little effort to obtain. Boots only, max level 2. Fun, secretly useful, mildly underrated. These boots are seriously pulling their weight though. One last boot enchantment left, and this one means we are taking a quick field trip to the Nether. Soul Speed. Yeah. If you have ever walked across soul sand without this enchantment, you know exactly why it exists. Soul sand is arguably one of the most annoying blocks in the entire game. It slows you down dramatically, it makes that horrible noise, and entire portions of the Nether Soul Sand Valley biome are constructed entirely out of the stuff. Soul Speed fixes that. Boots only, max level 3. The enchantment significantly boosts your movement speed on soul sand and soul soil specifically, and at max level, the slowdown from the blocks is essentially cancelled out entirely. You are just moving. There is also a visual effect worth mentioning. Blue soul particles trail behind your feet whenever soul speed activates on soul blocks, and it is genuinely one of the cooler small visual details on any enchantment in the game. Now, here is where Notch decided to make this unnecessarily painful. Soul speed cannot be obtained from an enchanting table. It also cannot be obtained from villager trading at all. The only ways to get it are piglin bartering, which gives you roughly a 1.09% chance per barter, or searching Bastion remnant chests, which requires you to navigate one of the most dangerous structures in the Nether to begin with. Yeah. The enchantment specifically designed to make Nether travel easier can only be obtained deep inside the Nether itself. Notch really thought that one all the way through. Not to mention, Soul Speed has a 4% chance to drain 1 point of boot durability for each soul block you step on while it is active. So while it is helping you travel faster, it is also actively destroying the boots providing the benefit. Make sure Mending is on those boots, or the whole thing becomes an expensive cycle of getting somewhere fast and then having nothing left to walk back with. And our last movement enchantment, and one of the rarest in the whole game, Swift Sneak. Leggings only. Swift Sneak increases your movement speed while sneaking. At level 1, you sneak at 45% of normal walking speed. Level 2 brings that up to 60%. At max level 3, you are sneaking at 75% of your normal walking speed, which sounds modest until you have spent any real time trying to sneak across a large space at default sneak speed and realize just how agonizingly slow it actually is in practice. 75% of normal walking speed while crouched is a genuinely massive improvement over vanilla sneaking. Here is the kicker though. Swift Sneak can only be found in ancient city loot chests. That is the only source. No enchanting table, no librarian trades, no fishing, no piglin bartering, no other loot pool. Ancient city chests and nothing else in the entire game. Sneak around as carefully as possible in near total darkness, hoping you do not accidentally trigger enough vibrations to summon the warden, which will absolutely unalive you before you get the book. Also, you can have an enchantment that makes sneaking slightly more efficient in the future. The irony there is not lost on me, and no, I am definitely not talking from personal experience. Once you actually have it, Swift Sneak is useful for PvP stealth builds, for navigating mob farms without triggering spawns at the wrong moment, and for any situation where you need to move through a space without making much noise or attracting attention. But for the right playstyle, it is a real and meaningful upgrade to how the game feels. We've gone through all the beneficial enchantments. Next are the 2 curses that Notch introduced to challenge players in a different way. Curse of Binding. Yeah, here we go. The Curse of Binding does exactly what the name implies. Once you equip a piece of armor that has Curse of Binding on it, you cannot take it off. Not by going into your inventory and moving it. Not by any crafting table or grindstone operation. Not by any item or potion or trick. Not unless you die. Or the item breaks on its own from durability damage. Those are your 2 exits from a bad situation entirely of your own making. Death or destruction. Pick one. It goes on any armor piece. And it is a treasure enchantment, which means it shows up in fishing, loot chests, and yes, librarian trades. Your beloved librarian can absolutely sell you Curse of Binding without any remorse. You could spend an entire evening re-rolling a librarian, finally get an enchanted book, slap it on your helmet without reading the tooltip carefully, and then spend the rest of that play session wearing a leather hat that you cannot remove until something unalives you. Now, and I say this with genuinely mixed feelings about encouraging this behavior, the Curse of Binding does have one creative use in multiplayer. If you hand a binding cursed piece of armor to another player, they cannot remove it either. A leather chestplate with Curse of Binding placed into an unsuspecting player's inventory is a chestplate they will be wearing for a very long time. And somehow, the second curse is worse. Curse of Vanishing. The item does not drop when you die. It just ceases to exist. Your fully enchanted netherite chestplate with Protection 4 and Mending and Unbreaking, gone. Your perfectly rolled Mending bow, gone. It can go on any enchantable item, not just armor pieces, and it comes from the same treasure sources as Curse of Binding. Fishing, loot chests, and yes, the librarian again. Now there are workarounds, and they are worth knowing because they might save you someday. If you store a Curse of Vanishing item inside a shulker box before you go somewhere genuinely dangerous, it will not vanish when you die. The curse only activates if the item is in your personal inventory or equipped on your body when death occurs. A shulker box counts as a container, not your inventory, so the item survives. The move is always to shulker box your cursed valuables before any risky adventure. You can also manually drop the item on the ground right before you die if you see it coming. If the item is not in your inventory at the moment of death, the curse cannot trigger, and the item just sits there on the ground waiting for you to respawn and pick it up. Good luck. In hardcore mode, the Curse of Vanishing is, as they say, irrelevant. You are dead, and the world is gone with you. Oh, and real quick, if you want to support the channel, membership is open right now. First members get an exclusive badge, and honestly, you would be doing more for this channel than the Curse of Vanishing has ever done for anyone anywhere. Link is in the description.